welcome to another video. In this video, I will be discussing about breaker blocks. This is my favorite entry setup. This is what I always use in my entry setup, the ICT breaker block. So, what is a breaker block? A breaker block is basically a failed order block. So, what do you mean by that? For example, we are bearish, right? When we are bearish, we create a down close candle. Then, when we form up close candle, that is a potential order block, right? It will only be a valid order block if we disrespect the swing low, right? So we have down close candle, and then up close candle, and then down close candle. That up close candle is now a valid order block. Alright? We want to see it be respected. We want to see it provide resistance. Alright? But if price disrespect that order block, that is now called a breaker block. If you can't imagine it, I will explain it in the next coming slides. Alright, this breaker block is a very strong PD array. Like I said, this is my favorite entry setup, the breaker block. This offers a very strong support and resistance. Yes, indeed. This breaker block offers a very strong support and resistance. This concept tells us if we are really continuing higher or we are now reversing. Alright? This concept right here, the breaker block, it can tell us exactly if we are continuing higher or reversing. Like I said, this is a strong indication of continuation and reversal. Alright, this is what I was trying to tell you earlier, right? So if, for example, we are overall bearish, we form down close candle. When we form up close candle, this is just a potential order block unless we break this swing low right here. But since we have now broken this swing low, this is now a valid order block. Since this is an order block, we want to see price respect this order block. Alright? But if we failed to respect this order block, it will now be a breaker block. Alright? So for example, we want to see price respect this order block. But if we fail, that order block turns now into a breaker block. Earlier, we want to see it provide some kind of resistance. Now, it will provide a strong support, right? This is a very strong indication of a reversal or continuation, right? Since we failed to respect this order block and has now shifted higher, this is now a strong support. Alright, we want to see price respect this failed order block, which we now call a breaker block. Alright, this order block right here is now called a breaker block. We want to see price see some kind of support right here and continue going higher. Right, just like that. We now have a change in the state of delivery, or what they call the CISD, or the change in the state of delivery. So what does it mean? It means we have now shifted into the opposite side of the market, right? So for example, we are bearish, we have now shifted higher to the opposite side of the market. This is a sign of reversal. Since we failed to respect this order block and continued higher, we now have a change in the state of delivery and we want to see price go higher. All right, we want to see price go and print up close candles. All right, we are now bullish in short. All right here we have our breaker block. We want to see price find some kind of support in this breaker block and continued higher. All right. So this is a live market example of a bullish breaker block. Right? So for example, once again, we are overall bearish. When we are bearish, we are creating down close candle. All right? Right here we have our order block. All right? This is an order block. And this is an order block. All right? We want to see price respect this order block and continued going lower. But price failed to respect that order block. All right? That order block is now called a breaker block. This will offer a very strong support now. Since we have changed in the state of delivery, right? Earlier we are bearish. Now we are bullish. We want to see higher prices. As we can see right here, breaker block supports the price and the price should continue higher just like that. All right? So this is another example for bearish breaker block. All right, so once again, we are overall bullish initially, right? We are creating up close candles. And then here we have down close candle. This down close candle should provide some kind of support and the price should continue higher. But if price failed to respect this order block and shifts lower, just like this, we now have a breaker block. All right, this candles right here, the order block is now a breaker block. And the price should now respect that breaker block and continue going lower. So once again, this is the mean threshold of a breaker block. We want to see price respect until the midpoint of the breaker block. We don't want to see price disrespect the midpoint of the breaker block. Alright, so as we can see right here, we have our breaker block right here. We are bullish. We create a down close candle, shifted higher. This is initially an order block, but price failed to respect that order block and now it's called a breaker block. When price returns into that breaker block should offer resistance and the price should continue lower. All right, the mean threshold of that is the midpoint of that breaker block. We want to see price respect the midpoint of that breaker block. All right, we don't want to see price disrespect that breaker block. We don't want to see a candle body close above the upper part of the breaker block. The wicks can pass through just like this, but we don't want to see a candle body close in this area. So when do you use the breaker block? All right, when should we use the breaker block? So first, we can use the breaker block with a higher time frame narrative. All right, breaker blocks are useless if you don't have a higher time frame narrative. All right, there should be a near higher time frame liquidity or a higher time frame PD array. All right, if not, that is an invalid breaker block. All right, so second is when we have a higher time frame PD array. This is the perfect time to use a breaker block when we reach a higher time frame PD array. For example, a 4-hour fair value gap, a 1-hour order block. Next is right after a liquidity grab. This is another best way to use the breaker block. Alright? So don't worry, I will explain this in the live market examples. Alright? So let's go into the live market examples. Alright, so here I will show you exactly how to use a breaker block and how to find a high probability breaker block. Right, so here we can see we have an order block right here. Alright, we have been bullish the past days. When we are bullish, we want to see up close candle. Alright, when we form down close candle and we continued higher, that down close candle is now an order block, right? So let's mark out this order block right here. This order block should be respected. So let's go on to the lower time frame. At lower time frame, we can see a bearish price action. When we are bearish, we want to see down close candle, alright? When we see up close candle, we want to see price respect that up close candle. As we can see right here, we have up close candle. We want to see price respect this order block right here. Alright, this is an order block. We want to see price respect that order block and continued lower. So let's see what the price will do. And as we can see, the price respected that order block. Alright? Once again here, we have an order block. Alright? So let's move this mark right here. And let's see if the price will respect this order block or not. At the same time, we are inside this 4-hour order block. We want to see price respect this order block right here, alright? But if we disrespect that order block, we will now have a breaker block. And yes, we disrespected that order block. So now we have a breaker block, alright? This is now a breaker block, alright? This breaker block right here, we want to see price respect this breaker block and continued going higher. Alright, so let's see what the price will do. Remember, when you are going to enter, you should always enter at the discount zone. Alright, so let's mark out this swing low right here to the nearest swing high. Alright, we want to buy at the discount zone, not the premium zone, right? Of course, when you want to buy something, you want to buy something at a cheap price, at a discount price. This is the discount price and this is the premium price or expensive zone, right? So as we can see right here, we have an overlapping fair value gap right here. A bullish fair value gap and a bearish fair value gap. This is what we call the 5-minute balanced price range. This is the balanced price range, alright? So if you want to enter, you can enter right here on the 50% since it's overlapping on the BPR, alright? You can target the nearest sell-side liquidity or you can target for only 2 risk reward, up to you. This example, we will target this nearest buy-side liquidity, alright? Let's wait for the price. Alright, we want to see this breaker block right here provide support into the price, alright? We don't want to see it be disrespected, alright? As we can see, the price reach into that 5-minute BPR. The price should now continue higher, right? You can aim for this buy-side liquidity right here. And let's see what the price will do. And as we can see, it respected that 5-minute balanced price range beautifully and also respected our 5-minute breaker block. All right. And we hit our take profit. As you can see, breaker block is a very strong ICT concept. All right. Like I said, this is my favorite entry setup. All right. I hope you learned a lot from this video. You can watch this as many times as you like, right? You can go into your charts and try to implement how to execute this concept, all right? So I will see you on the next video.